Designing for Cisco Internetwork Solutions. Man, I get excited about going over this material because it's one of the foundational courses that if you're here, it's like there's so much information we get to talk about and I get to share with you. So with that being said, here's the outline of things we're going to be discussing. And this is a rough outline. I'm going to be throwing in a couple extra things here and there. That's my own little I don't want to say gift, but my own little addition. Of course, the class was my design, but there's things I always think of that I like to just try to squeeze in whenever possible. So we're going to talk about describing methodologies used to design a network, describing network structure and modularity, and also design a basic enterprise campus network. And basic and enterprise campus network, it's kind of an oxymoron, right? Basic and enterprise campus network. But yeah, that's what it's considered, and we'll be talking about it. Designing enterprise edge and remote network modules. Also design IP address and routing protocols, designing network service. And then I'm also going to be talking to you guys, since you're designing things, you need to understand kind of like the best of breed things that are out right now, such as unified access, and this is stuff that's not on the exam. And so, and unified access is made up of a couple things, which I'm going to throw in as kind of a bonus video for you, because it's kind of like the new modern best of breed things that are out there that encompasses, you know, enterprise switch networks, wireless. It's unified wired and wireless networks and identity services for those different technologies, right? So we're going to talk some about that as a bonus. But let's get to the meat of this stuff first. And you know, here's the thing: becoming a CCDA, this is what it's about. It's about being able to design a network architecture to meet customer needs and demands while adhering to industry best practices, best practice design, and regulatory mandates. So you have to know not only how technology works, and not only about new products as they're coming out that would fit a customer. And why do you have to deal with new products? Because you want a solution that's going to be future-proof. You want solutions that are going to last that customer the next 10 years, right, or more. You know, whenever I first started with networking, one of the things that really intrigued me about Cisco was I was an apprentice to these network engineers, and as they went out to do their installs, we were updating routers that they had installed 5-6 years before then that they had never touched. I mean, literally, same version of code, same version of, and this was before we had the integrated services routers, right? So it was just routing packets and you just put it in and left it. You didn't do much with it. But just the fact that that was there and never went down or off or anything was just amazing to me. So anyway, you know, it's about understanding to be future-proof for a network, and also just best practice design to not meet current needs but exceed current needs and prepare for something maybe the business isn't even prepared for, right? So it's a great role, great position, and the guys that do this well are some amazing guys. I've worked with so many. You know, I actually hired a guy that was right out of college, and he had a 4-year degree, and he actually was doing web design stuff, and he was like, you know, I really want to get in the Cisco world, and I really want to start working with it. And I was partners with a Cisco Silver partner, and anyway, you know, he started working, loved design, and he started working with Cisco, took the CCNA class, and you know, got through it. And he's like, I'm really not an integrator, but you know, I love the design. And in 3-4 years' time, man, he was our, you know, director of, I forgot the actual title now. But he just blossomed with the organization. He's basically third in command of a, you know, $8 million company, and designed all the solutions. And he eventually got to where not only, you know, he designed for years, you know, several years, worked his butt off designing for small to medium business and also enterprise customers, and then he moved on up to education enterprise. And then he gets a role where he's approving other people's designs, right? So it was just kind of nice to see that. So some of the guys that do design are just, you know, they've got a special mindset, and it's great to help kind of make these new, you know, hopefully help you get there as well. So having the CCDA validate you have this required knowledge and skill set to design an enterprise campus network and are familiar with regulatory agencies, business requirements, and industry best practices. So you hear me say a lot about industry best practices, business requirements, regulatory agencies a couple times, really. And that's because you have to know those things. You have to know that new technology. You have to know what requirements businesses may have, like Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, all that kind of stuff. And then you also have to know wireless standards and which part of the country you're in. Because whenever you're designing network architectures, typically, there's multiple sites, and those sites may be in the U.S., they may be in other countries, and then now you're into international, regulatory agencies and who governs what, and now everything is unified access with wired and wireless. So anyway, yeah, lots of stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun. So the first thing we're really going to jump on is describe methodologies used to design a network, and we're going to start with the basics here. So methodology used to design a network, we're going to talk about describing developing business trends, identify network requirements to support the organization, describe the tools and process to characterize an existing network, describe the top-down approach to network design, and describe network management protocols and features. So with that, here's a little bit about developing business trends. Network design has become an ever-growing, ever-changing landscape. Design engineers must account for current business and application requirements, as well as design architecture to be future-proof. Design best practice and models allow us to design architectures to support constantly evolving business trends, and there's several models that exist today to help us do this. And what these are is design methodologies, right? They're proven concepts that will work over and over and over again. The best designs in the world are designs that are repeatable designs, right? So one of these is Cisco's own model, and actually several of these is Cisco's own model. So we have what's called the PPD-IOO model, and that's really a life cycle design. And so it's a life cycle methodology that we're going to be talking about. It's called prepare, plan, design, implement, operate, and optimize. And there's different roles that are assigned to each of these phases of a technology life cycle. So a little bit of background on that model first is, Cisco got together and they said, hey, if we're going to sell this solution to a customer, what is all the steps and all the roles and all the functions we would need to do to ensure that a technology realizes its potential, all the way from the moment of conception through the moment that it's upgraded? What's all the roles and phases we would need to do? And they came out with the PPD-IOO model. So we're going to be talking about that in detail. Then we've got the Cisco 3-layer model, and this is just a best practice standard way to construct a building or a campus this foundation, the network foundation. So we're going to be talking about that in a moment. Then we've got an 8-step design methodology that we're going to be going over, all 8 steps, guess what? And then the Cisco SONA, the service-oriented network architecture. So all of these are kind of different methodologies of, the PPD-IOO is really just a life cycle framework, so it encompasses everything. All of these have a little bit different and unique characteristics to them, but by following the principles of these, we can ensure that we not only meet a customer's expectations for today, but also for years to come. So I'm going to start off with the PPD-IOO model. And before I do that, though, I'm going to take a short break. I'll be right back.